Welcome back to Tackett's House of Horsepower. It's me, Steve Tackett. And you remember that 406 we had an oil pressure problem with? Well, let's find out why. First, a quick update on Down and Dirty. I was going to do seats, put some seats in this thing because check it out. Look what showed up. I got these from Speedway. It's their low back bucket seat, vinyl bucket seats. I got two of them. The seats showed up, but the mounting brackets, sliders, are on back order. Great. And it looks like it's raining today. It is gloomy out. So, I don't know. Anyways, I got seats, but I have nothing to mount them to. So, that's great. So, that kind of put the kibosh on this project for today. Because I still need to get seats in it so I can get it to the exhaust shop and the alignment shop. I want to do probably the exhaust shop first. I think it's important to put as much weight on the car as possible. You want this thing to be at ride height and weight as much as possible before you do your alignment, because it can affect the alignment. So anyways, seats, I got some more upholstery and interior stuff I need to order. I'm still looking for a back seat. I need to find an original back seat, at least a frame that I can get reupholstered. I need some trim pieces for the back trunk. I'm missing those. What else? I don't know. This project's getting really close to being on the road, driving, and maybe taking it to its first couple of events. Take it to a test and tune night and shake it down and get some time slips on this thing soon. So that brings me to, what do I need to do next? What's next for Tackett's House Horsepower? So that being said, I need to determine what I'm gonna do next. What project can I do next? There's a couple of ideas I got kicking around, and there's a possibility that I've found the next projects, multiple, that I might be picking up here in the next week or 2 weeks. Hopefully, of course, I'll bring you with me. It's going to be kind of a rescue / revival / we're going to go pull some stuff out that's been sitting a while. So if that all works out, then I've got a lot of work to do. And so therefore, a lot of content to shoot. So what does this have to do with the 406? Well, if I go get those other projects, I'm going to need possibly one, possibly two engines to put in those projects. So I need to find out what happened to this thing, because I'm probably going to be needing that sooner than I thought. So we need to pull that thing out and tear it apart, find out what happened, what's wrong with it, why are we having this oil pressure issue, and possibly fix it, because I think we're going to be needing it sooner than later. So follow along, because it's going to get kind of crazy in the next couple of weeks. I think if everything goes through the way I'm hoping it goes through, I'm going to be very busy. So anyway, let's tear into this thing today and possibly figure out what's wrong with it, and then may have to send some stuff to the machine shop, maybe the block align board. I don't know if you remember. If you didn't see the video, we'll put a clip of the oil pressure situation. That thing was having a weird issue where it had great oil pressure, and then when you get on the gas or put the engine under a load, the oil pressure would drop like almost to zero. And then as soon as you let off the gas, it would whoop, pop right back up. So, all right, so look at it now. At idle, it's dropping way down. It'll start to come back up until the engine's under a load. Typically, that's indicative of something to do with main bearings. Under a load, the crank is being pushed away from the oiling hole, causing the pressure to drop. So typically that's a main bearing issue, clearance issue. It could be something bigger like line bore, core shift, something like that could have happened to the block. I don't know. Let's get it apart. Look at the bearings. See if I can get it. If I got a straight edge, something straight to lay across the main journals. Hopefully the block is fixable, or bearings, or turn crank. I don't know, something. If not, I got two more 400s sitting against that back wall back there. I may have to pull one of them out and maybe machine a block and then take the guts out of this and put some. I got to figure something out because, like I said, I think I'm going to be needing one, possibly two engines here very soon. So let me shift some stuff around and we'll start taking it apart. All right, can you see me? Can you see? Hi. All right, so what we've got here is a failure to, never mind. This is, well, just give it to me. This is a small block 400, 30 over, 2-bolt main block. All the parts are used, all of it. Everything you see here is used, swap meet parts, leftover parts from the green Chevy, the top end anyway. The heads and stuff came from the green Chevy. The bottom end came from my buddy Jason Snyder. The crank rods, pistons, all that is all used stuff that he had from way back. So, of course, I just kind of pieced it all together, put it together, and it was in my Blue Wagon for about 2 years, and it ran great. It runs awesome. It runs strong, believe me. But the oil pressure problem, and it gradually got worse. In the beginning, it wasn't there, and then over time, it started getting worse. So I removed the engine, and I put my old 350. I don't know if you saw those videos. I put my old 350 back in the blue car, and it's running good. So we have this 400. We need to find out what's wrong with it. So let's start tearing it apart and see what we find. First thing I'm gonna do is drain the oil out of it. So take a look at it. Hopefully no chunks fall out or metal shavings. You know, that would be bad. I'm really tight on space today because it's raining outside. And I don't want to push the car outside. Wow, the oil's pretty dark. Huh. Smells pretty rich. But there's no metal shavings on the magnet. So that's a good thing. It looks okay. Really dark, but no stripper glitter, so that's a good thing. So while that's draining, I'm gonna go ahead and pull the intake manifold. I really hope there's nothing major wrong with this thing. These blocks though, they are notorious for core shift and stuff like that. So I've had pretty good luck with 400s. I love building 406s, but I have had some issues. Alright, got all the intake manifold bolts out, cracked it loose with that screwdriver and a little bit of persuasion. So far so good. I don't suspect I'm going to find anything up top. I believe all the problems are going to be down at the bottom. So, but anyway, the whole thing's coming back apart. Everything's going to get cleaned. Everything's going to get cleaned and checked thoroughly. It's starting to really rain out there, like for real. It's pretty rare in Phoenix, you know? Yeah, nothing to report yet. So I'm gonna start on the valve train and heads. We'll get that apart, take a look at it. I don't know if I'm gonna save this cam and lifters. It's a flat tappet motor, flat tappet cam motor. And I don't like flat tappets anymore. So I think we might go ahead and go hydraulic roller when we put this back together. I haven't decided yet. I'm gonna keep all the lifters and stuff and I'm gonna keep them organized. But I don't think I'm gonna reuse them. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Go ahead and pop this stud girdle off. These aren't really necessary. I like using them. It keeps everything nice and tight and square. You know, like it's cheap insurance, really. You don't really need them, especially on a flat tappet cam and springs. The springs are not a lot of seat pressure on the springs, so they're not necessary, but they do keep it all square and tight, and these can never come loose if you got a stud girdle on here. Cheap insurance. I don't mean to be so cryptic as far as like what the next upcoming project's gonna be, but I don't want to. I mean the deal's not done yet, so I don't want to I don't want to say nothing until it's a done deal, you know. But I promise you guys will be with me when we go get these. If we go get these, I hope. Don't you hate when the Allen wrench pops in your hand and it like feels like an electric shock all the way up your spinal cord? I do. So, I mean, all right, just getting the valve train off. These heads are Motown 220s. They're not ported or anything. They're just right out of the box 220s. They were on the green Chevy for a long time, and then I got a set of RHSs that are ported and gasket matched and all the intake manifold and everything. So that whole top end is better. So once upon a time, I had this top end on that engine, and I just switched the top end, and it did gain quite a bit, especially on the top end. Oh, and so these heads ended up on this engine, which is plenty for a mild 400. I really hope there's nothing majorly wrong with this thing. It'd be nice if I could just get away with gaskets and bearings and maybe a line bore on the block. That would be really awesome. So fingers crossed. Okay, other side. Okay, all the valve train is out except for the lifters. Like I said, I don't know exactly what I'm gonna do with this engine yet. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna pull the lifters out. I'm gonna inspect the lifters. Also, I inspect valve stems. Take a look at all your valve stems. If you see any uneven wear, or it's kind of mushrooming, or you see the pattern is not in the center of the stem, then you probably have poor valve train alignment, or valve push rod length is wrong, something like that. So you want to take a look at your valve stems, make sure they're nice and square still, and the roller's making a nice even wear mark across and centered on the valve stem. If it looks funny, there's something wrong. So, but anyways, here's what I'm doing. I'm gonna pull these lifters out in order, and I'm gonna put them in this box, and the box is marked front. So if I reuse this cam in lifters, which I don't recommend doing, but if I do, those lifters, because they're flat tappet, they seat into that lobe. So if you reuse these, they have to go back in the exact same spot they came out of. So put them in a box, mark it. They have to go in the exact same spot. Now, if this was a customer's vehicle, if I was building this engine for somebody else, I would not do this. I would tell them no. It's not worth it, you know. So I'm gonna pull these out. I'm gonna look at the faces of them. That looks good. If this was somebody else's car, I would not do this. I would say no. It's because flat tappet cams are just, it's such a risk, you know. if you have a lifter or something go bad and it sends metal shavings through the motor, you're gonna start all over. You're gonna be rebuilding the engine. So I really don't recommend it. But if it's something that I'm gonna build for myself and it's just a toy I'm gonna go beat the dog poop out of, I don't care. You know, like I said, engines like this one, I built it with all used spare parts anyway. So it's not the end of the world for me if something bad happens to this engine. So I don't know. That being said, do a real good job inspecting it. This one looks kind of weird. This one looks weird. Huh. That does look really weird. I don't know if you can see this. Can you see it? It looks like the lifter's not spinning. I can't believe it lasted 2 years. There's no way. It had to be spinning. But it looks like, man, I wish I could zoom in on this. You can see the swirl pattern on the outsides, but in the center, the lobe is just running on the center. Can you see it? Look, you can still see the swirl out here. It's like a mirror in the center, but I can see the swirl from like when the lifter was new on the outsides. Can you see it? The other ones didn't look like that. It seems to me like this lifter was not spinning. Huh. I don't know how it lasted that long. Usually within the first 50 miles or 100 miles, if the lifter's not spinning, it'll wipe the cam lobe out. That's crazy. I literally just pulled this out right now. I hope you can see that. Huh. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna reuse this. I honestly spend the money. If you're building an engine, you're building whatever, small block, big block, whatever you're building, it's just not worth it. The flat tappet cams are just, it's not worth it. The oil's not good enough. I mean, even if you use Rotella and you use some additive, like the oils are just not good. It's not spinning. This lifter for sure was not spinning. Yeah, I wonder what the cam lobe looks like. If the cam lobe was getting worn down, maybe it was getting metal shavings. I'm wondering if we're gonna see contaminated bearings when we do get to the bottom half of this. If we're gonna see contaminated oil eating up bearings. That could do it. Honestly, this could do it. Huh. Well, I guess we should keep going. But yeah, this for sure. When I put this back together, I'm gonna order. I'd like to go hydraulic roller. I'm not messing with this. So yeah, I think I'm tossing these lifters in cams. I'm not even trying to reuse that. There's no way. It doesn't look right. If it don't look right, don't do it. So let me finish getting the rest of these out. I'm just gonna toss them, I think. But we need to pay attention to that. What was that? Oh, that was 4. That was cylinder number 4 exhaust valve. Cylinder number 4 exhaust valve. So when we go to pull the cam, I want to look at that lifter or that lobe on the cam. Maybe we were getting metal shavings. I don't know. It is really raining. All right, let me get that apart. Okay, take a look. I actually found 3 of them. So here's 3 good ones. This is what you want it to look like, where it looks like it's using the whole face of the lifter. okay? That's what you want it to look like, all right? Now look at these three. You can still see the swirl pattern on the top and bottom here from when the lifter was new. When the lifter's brand new, it has this swirl pattern, you know? So these three lifters, I can still see the swirl pattern here and here, and then right here in the center, it's like the lifter is sitting in one spot, and it's really rubbing right there. And then it's just, when it goes up and down the lobe, it's rubbing here. So this is probably base circle. When you're sitting on base circle, it's rubbing right here. And then when it goes up and then down the lobe, it's rubbing here. So I see three lifters like this. And you can really see the wear in the center right there. So I think three lifters did not seat correctly, and they were spinning or not spinning in the bore. And I'm wondering if the cam lobes, it's got to be eating the lobes. So I'm wondering if we're going to see contaminated oil bearings, like damaging the bearings when we pull the crankshaft. So this is not good. That's the first bad thing we found so far. Okay. Now I want to start taking the heads off. I moved you over here. You're sitting on the hood at Down and Dirty, okay? Don't scratch the paint, all right? So, all right. So there we go. I just double checked the oil, and I drained it from one pan to the other, and I was looking at it real close. I don't see metal shavings in the oil. So I don't know. It's kind of crazy, but it looks like three lifters did not seat correctly. Anyway, let's pop the heads off, and then we can flip this thing over and start looking at it for real. I'm really curious to see what those what the bearings are going to look like. I really hope the crankshaft's okay. Maybe we could just polish the crank, put bearings in it, cam and lifters, you know what I mean? I hope. Ugh. That sucks. But I mean, this is why when you start seeing a problem, like maybe I caught it early enough. You know, if I would have kept going, that lifter would have it'll eventually eat its way through the hardened part of the cam and the hardened part of the lifter. And once it gets into the soft metal, it really beats itself to death. It'll mushroom the nose of the face of the lifter. The camshaft will be completely gone. So I mean, hopefully I caught it early enough that it's just some bearings failing now. You know what I mean? So this is why you don't just ignore it. You gotta, if you think you got a problem, it's better to pull the engine and go through it rather than keep going. Because if I would have kept driving it, that only would have got worse. Those lifters would have only got worse. You know what I mean? So I don't know. Let's keep going. Let's keep going and see what we find. Get these heads off. Okay, one head's off, and it looks clean, like really clean inside. Not that bad. You know, typical little bit of carbon here. I'll pick you up. Come over here. You know, nothing too surprising so far. Put you back over there. Remember, don't scratch the paint, okay? You're on Down and Dirty's hood. All right, one head's off. Let me get that other one off. Okay, both heads are off, and I don't see anything new to report. Cylinders look okay. There's no cylinder ledge. There's not that many miles on this engine. So I'm not too worried about it. But now comes the real part. We're gonna flip this thing over and take a look at the crank. We'll get this bottom half apart, and that's where I think we might see some issues. All right, before I flip it over, I wanted to pull the water pump off and the harmonic balancer off. So you haven't missed anything yet. Harmonic balancer's off. That's how we stay in shape. Sarah goes to the gym, I go to the garage. Okay, we are upside down. Only about 2 gallons of coolant hit the floor, so everything's under control. Okay, don't panic. Don't tell Sarah. All right. Let's get this oil pan off of here. And then we will start investigating what we can find. Watch this get on there. That'd be really great if all I gotta do is some bearings and gaskets and maybe polish the crank. That'd be really awesome. Because, like I said earlier, I think we're gonna be needing this one. We're gonna be needing this engine here real soon. You notice how the engine was orange and I just kind of painted it black right over the top of it? Show car quality, you know what I mean? No. This was a very budget build. Budget friendly build. You can tell that I got started in the 90s because, like, I still love a 400 block. You know what I mean? A 400 block. I'll run the stock crank, cast crank, externally balanced rotating assembly. I'll run it. Get yourself some 350 rods, 5.7 inch rods. We call that a long rod 400. And it is the funnest street, you know, street budget build, whatever. You can tell, like, that's kind of how I cut my teeth, you know. And I'll still go to it, you know what I mean? Like, if I'm at the swap meet or something, or I'm out, whatever, and if I come across a 400 block that's like standard, like I buy it every time. Because that's what we could afford, you know what I mean? Back then, me and my friends, you know, we had to do what we had to do, you know what I mean? We were making street cars, you know, and high compression, 11, 12 to 1 compression, small blocks, 350s and 400s, like that was the go-to, man. That's what we could afford, you know. And I still build it's still the way I build engines. You know what I mean? So ta-da! All right. What's in the oil pan? Oof. I mean, it's dark, but I don't see sprinkles. You know, I don't see stripper glitter. And I'm not against stripper glitter. I like stripper glitter, okay? Just not in my oil pan. You know what I mean? Okay. Let me get set up and we'll start popping pistons out of there. That was a tongue twister. Okay, hold on, scratch that. Before I start popping pistons out, almost just slipped. Before I pop pistons out, I want to pull this camshaft out and let's take a look at it, because we might see some things on those lobes. I'm just wondering. Careful, careful. Ta-da. All right. Let's see what we can see. Okay, well, let's see. I don't know. It looks normal. Well, maybe not. What did we say earlier? Cylinder 2 exhaust valve. I don't know, it looks normal. No, this one's pretty shiny. Yeah, some of these lobes, you can see the shiny part flattens out quite a bit. I don't know. Okay? I don't know. It doesn't look horrible. I mean, I've seen a flat cam before, and it's painfully obvious. This is not like, it just looks a little funky. Some of these are like this one, where it goes from skinny, fat, the shiny part. Especially that one. I don't know how well you can see that. Again, I don't know. It's like, is it a smoking gun? I don't know. Maybe it's just a little bit of smoke. Maybe a little. I don't know. It's a gun, but is it smoking? I don't know. Well, huh. Yeah. Let me clean it off a little bit and then I'll get you over here and you can take a look. And I'll show you what I'm looking at. Okay. Take a look. First of all, look at this. You see all this blue fuzz? Did you see me wiping the camshaft down with a shop rag? Never, ever, ever, ever use shop rags on engine parts. Why? Because it makes fuzz. See the fuzz? Yeah. Anything like a terry cloth or a shop rag, never, ever use it on an engine part. At least not an engine part you plan on reusing, because it's going to make fuzzy fuzz balls everywhere inside the engine. Now, anyways, look at the lobe. You can see the shiny part. The way these are ground, they're ground at such a way that it's supposed to make the lifter spin. Okay, that's the whole point of a flat tappet cam. So you'll see it. The shiny part will be off to one side. Okay. See it? It looks shiny right there. Then when you follow it around, look at the lobe. All of a sudden it goes flat. Like it's the whole face of the lifter is now sitting flat against the lobe. That's not normal. It shouldn't look like that. This is not normal. This is not normal wear for a flat tappet cam. So you got to look at it close. Some of them look like it, some of them don't. Let's see if I can find a good one. See the fuzzies? Look at the fuzzies. Don't do it. Don't use a shop rag. Anyways, you want to see it off to one side only. And then it kind of spins around and comes out the other side. That's going to cause the lifter to spin. Anyways, I don't know. It looks like it's not normal wear to me, but again, it doesn't look like a smoking gun. I don't know. I guess now we'll just have to inspect the bearings. The bearings are going to be the telltale now. Okay. I don't even know if I want to post this. I was standing here just now and I looked at my pickup tube and I was like, hey, that's kind of sitting at a weird angle. I wonder why it's like that. And so I walked over here, just like I'm doing now, and I grabbed onto it like this, and I went like this. Oh my God. And I even had a tack wheel on that thing. Look at it. What? What? Oh my God. You gotta be pooping me. Oh no. Oh no. That really. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh no. I need to take a minute. Well, I don't know what to say. Dude, oh my God. Really? Could it be that simple? Could that be it right there? Is that the smoking gun? I don't know. Well, I guess we've come this far. So I think I'm gonna pull the crank and bearings and check the bearings and drop the pistons, and I've already come this far. So I might as well continue taking it the rest of the way apart and then clean everything and see what it looks like. I am literally dumbfounded. I've never had this happen before. Usually I run aftermarket pans, and the aftermarket pan comes with a pickup tube that kind of bolts. It presses in, and then it's got a tab or two that stick out and bolts onto the 2 bolts on the pump. Whenever I run a pickup tube like this, I usually throw a tack weld on it like I did, and I've never had a problem until now, apparently, because that thing is wiggling all around like it could be cavitating. You know, I don't, but why would it only did it under a load? Why wouldn't it do it all the time? I don't. Wow. Okay. Well, let's just continue forward. We got to go forward. We can't go back. We got to move forward. So, yeah. All right, I'm going to start at the front of the engine and work my way to the back, because typically if there is contamination in the oil, or in this case, possibly cavitating of the pump. And so the bearings that are furthest away from the pump are going to be the ones that starve of oil first, you know, if that makes any sense. So I just popped off the number 1 bearing, and it doesn't. Okay, it feels with my finger absolutely perfectly smooth. Okay, I don't feel anything with my thumb, nail, anything. Like, it feels perfectly smooth. But look at the discoloration, especially in the center. Can you see it? So it's really starting to look like it was starving of oil. So maybe that was the problem. I mean, the bearing, it feels perfect. You can't feel anything with your nail. But look at the way it's colored. It's like shiny on the sides and kind of grayish in the middle, I guess. I don't know. So this is the number 1 cylinder. So again, this is the furthest away from the pump. So, yeah, I don't like it. I don't like it. Maybe the pump was cavitating. Okay, it's a good possibility. So I'm just gonna keep going. I'm just gonna keep going. I'm still in shock though. Like that, I have never personally had that happen before. So, yeah. All right, let me keep going. Both bearings look about the same on this rod. Again, I don't feel anything, but it does look a little discolored in there. The piston looks pretty good. Considering this thing was together for 2 years, that's not bad. Here's a pro tip, okay, I'm not a pro, just a regular tip. Go steal a couple of these from your local grocery store. These are the 2 liter bottle packaging is what they ship them in. You get these and you can put your pistons right here. Boom. Ta-da. And they'll hold them for you. You put all 8 of them in here. So that's cool, right? I'm sorry. I'm a little bit I'm a little bit out of it. All right, so that's 1 down, 7 to go. Anyway, I'm gonna keep going. Okay, here's number 8. And just like I suspected, I thought it would be a little bit better. The closer we get to the pump, I mean, you can see in the center, the bearing looks brand new. And then towards the outsides, it's looking kind of shiny. So what I'm thinking is, in the center, that's where the oil hole is on the crankshaft. That's where it gets the oil. And then on the outsides, it's starving of oil. So to me, that looks like it legitimately is cavitating the pump. That's the only thing I can think of. But there is no grooves, so I don't think it's contaminated. Like maybe it was coming from the camshaft or something. Metal was getting in there. So that's good. I don't see any signs of like contaminated oil. Metal in the oil would cause grooves and shavings and stuff to be floating around the engine, and you'll get, you know, deep grooves and gouges in the bearings and on the crank. So I think I'm okay there. I think it's legitimately just cavitating the pump. What do you guys think? Okay, let me catch you up. I got the crankshaft out. The bearings look okay, except for this one. You can see it's starting to get through the babbitt. The rest of them look okay. The cam bearings look good, real good. Or can you see them? Kind of hard to see down in there. Cam bearings, main bearings. Now, the 1, 2, 3, 4th one back looks like this. See that? I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't know if it's caused by a lack of oil, or was it caused by something not in alignment, like it needs to be line bored. I don't know. I don't really have a machinist straight edge, so it's going to be hard for me to check that. So I can take these bearings out and try and lay some sort of a straight edge in there and see if I see anything, but I'm not sure if it's, see, now I don't know. Now comes the decision time. Do I have the crankshaft? The crankshaft is beautiful. Like, there is not a single scratch on it. What if I just polish the crankshaft and buy a set of bearings, put it back together? Do I try and maybe see if the block needs to be line bored? If you're going to take it down there and have it line bored, you're going to need to have it cleaned. Probably have to replace the cam bearings and stuff. Like, I don't know. So do we just polish the crank, buy a set of bearings, put it back together, replace the oil pump, get a aftermarket screen that actually bolts on, hopefully, so that doesn't happen again, make a good seal there, maybe that'll take care of it. I do want to switch this over to a hydraulic roller cam. So we're already talking cam and lifters. We're already talking a set of bearings and gaskets. We're looking at maybe, I don't know, it could be a line bore. It's only the one bearing. It's really weird. The rest of the bearings look fine. It's just this one bearing looks like this. None of the other ones did it. So what caused that? That's the $1 million question. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Anybody out there? Well, there it is. The misadventures of Tackett's House of Horsepower. What are we gonna do? I've got some decisions to make. I need to figure out what to do with this engine. I need possibly one to possibly two engines, good, strong engines, for the next projects that are coming up. And I want you guys to follow along, and I want you to be part of it. So I need to figure out what's going on with this. I don't want to turn that crank. It looks like the crank was already 2020. So 20 on the mains, 20 on the rods. So I don't want to turn it again. Definitely don't want to do that. Hopefully just polish it and buy a set of bearings. I hope this block is not any kind of a core shift situation. I don't know. That one bearing looked weird. So I don't know what happened there. But I do want to go to a roller cam, hydraulic roller, maybe polish the crank, put some bearings and gaskets in it and reassemble it. I do have an engine test stand so we can fire it up and run it. But if you go back to the earlier videos, you'll see it really only dropped oil pressure under a load. So I don't even know if you see the problem on the test stand. So there's that. I don't know. So there we go. We just need to maybe take a minute, sleep on it, see what happens. I don't know. But that's the thing with YouTube. I you know, it's really, it's weird. Like, you only want to show the positives. You only want to show the wins. You want to make yourself look like the hero. And I don't do that. I kind of show you in real time and really what happens. And my hope is that somebody learns something or sees something or catches something, you know, that maybe I missed or you missed, or you can learn something from, you know, that pickup tube. If you would have told me that was the problem, I would have laughed at you, because I pressed that thing in and I tack welded it, and I've done it 1,000 times, and I've never seen that happen before. So I don't know. I guess anything's possible. So we need to go through this the rest of the way, and I need to get it reassembled. So I need to make some decisions. I need to order some parts. And then hopefully in the next week or two, we're gonna go pick up the project that hopefully this is gonna be going into. So please hit like, subscribe, hit that bell so you can follow along. And I want you to join me on this. And I'll show you the wins and I'll show you the losses. That's the way it is here. So hopefully you enjoyed it. Maybe you learned something. Hey, maybe I learned something. You know what I mean? So with that, I appreciate it, and I'll see you next time.